Okay, nou hoor jy my? Okay.
Ja, ek hoor jou.
Righto. Ek sien net klaar begin rekord.
Ja.
Goed so. Kan jy my skerm sien?
Ja, maar ek sien die deel wat jy moet sien, nie die een wat die mense moet sien nie. So ek sien nie die slideshow nie, ek sien die slide met die agenda, die next slide aan die kant.
O my genade.
So ek dink dit moet anders te omwees, jou screens.
Why so? Ek het net my gewone skerm wat hier so op is. Wat daar sy. Sal nog?
Ja.
Kom maak dit nou so.
Hy was reg en toe het hy verander, Nico.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for attending. It is now 2 o'clock. My name is Nico Snyman, and I am going to lead you through this webinar. Sorry for the display. I hope that everything is visible on your side. We have got a number of slides here, I think 25, 30 around there, and we have got an hour to go through everything. Hopefully I can have enough time for questions later on as well. Okay, so we are going to be addressing the International Standards Organization's high-level structure that is in every certifiable standard, and a practical focus on clause 7.2, specifically competence. Now in clause 7.2 competence, every standard that you can get certified against has got this specific clause. So competence is a huge thing that all of us need to have and ensure that our personnel and the people within the management system is actually competent to do their job. So what we are going to be doing or addressing today is firstly, who is Crest Advisory Africa and our offerings. We've got 6 offerings there, and then understanding the high-level structure of clause 7.2 of the ISO, and then practical implementation model for clause 7.2, and then questions and contact CAA if you want to contact us. So who are we? Crest Advisory Africa has been established by myself. I'm the founder and CEO since the establishment. That was the 13th of June 2014. So we are now 12 years plus in the making. And Crest is contracted with 3 certification bodies, namely, first one is the PCB for people certification, that is in relation to ISO 17024, and then MSECB as well as DQS, that is actually DAX, the German standards. We are certified and we are doing work on their behalf for ISO management system certifications in terms of 17021-1. So our offerings, very important, because what we are doing is firstly training. We are, as I said on the previous slide, we are certified with the MSECB as well as other certification organizations as well. And we are doing training, specifically international certification training in various ISOs. You can see there on the screen as well. So ISO 31000 to anti-bribery, that is 37001, etc. And then advisory service on all the certifications that we are doing on the left-hand side. On training, we are also doing implementation and providing advisory service to companies that need it. Then leadership development. As you have seen with the ISO structure, a huge part of ISO is about leadership. And how do you work with leadership? And what we are going to do today is also about leadership, because competency is about leadership. Then auditing services, we are doing internal audits, risk-based audits, various kind of audits internally on all those standards that we are certified against and that we've got certification on. And then our Isolytics GRC software, we've got, I will actually go into this on the next page, but we've got risk management software, audit software, compliance software, document management software, checklist, etc. that we have put into the market and that is compliant with the ISO requirements. And then international ISO certification audits, we are doing that for the certification bodies, that is in Canada, in Germany, South Africa, etc. So we are doing 18788, 22301, business continuity, 27001, and various other certifications as well. So now that we are talking about Isolytics, here is the whole Isolytics ecosystem that we have built over the last 11, 12 years. We have put this into the market in 2016 with enterprise risk management, and everything just flow out of that specifically. So we've got enterprise incident management, we've got investigation management, we've got forensic management, compliance management system, audit management system, business continuity, asset management, project management, all the management systems that you have got there. Sorry for my for my voice. So this is I want to say, one of the only GRC systems that is interlinking with all of these management systems. You will see that most of the GRC companies that is putting out software are doing enterprise risk management and audit management and possibly compliance management. Those three they can do, but integration with everything else, that is a bit tricky. So understanding the ISO high-level structure and a practical focus on clause 7.2 competence. Now, guys, this clause is very close to my heart. This is one of the things that is in every company. It's critical, and it is critical that you are sitting with competent people that can work on their own, people that can expand your organization, that can do service delivery. So competence is super important. So if you're looking at a practical focus on competence, why is 7.2 so important? And this is where capability is proved. You need to, from an auditor side, we are asking you, are your people competent? Yes, we are. Okay, prove it to me, please. Prove it. And what kind of resources do you have? No, we've got competent people on every level. So if clause 7.1 asks, do we have the resources? Then 7.2 is competence asks the sharper question. Are the people doing the work actually capable of doing it properly? Can they do it correctly or not? So 7.2 is one of the most consistently tested ISO clauses during audits because it goes straight to the operational risk. And the operational risk here is you have got people that is not competent, so they are making faults. So you can have excellent policies, systems, and tools, but incompetence will break all of them. And that is the truth. We can go to any organization and any commission that is on the TV and on YouTube, etc., whether it is in America or Europe or South Africa or anywhere, and when they are being called to account in front of a panel, then you are seeing where the cracks are and where they are incompetent in making decisions, incompetent in executing their work, incompetent in doing a workflow, incompetent in understanding what they need to understand. And ISO is therefore requires organizations to be deliberate. It's beautiful words, these: deliberate, evidence-based, and honest about competence. In some companies and some people that is going through our training courses, whether it is risk management, information security management, doesn't matter what, when people are getting a little bit of knowledge, they are thinking that they are the guys in the room because they have got the competence. And that is false. That is so false, because if that person is being asked one additional question, he falls flat on his face. And this is deliberate, evidence-based, and honest about competence. So if we're looking at the requirements in plain language, 7.2 requires the organization to determine the competence of persons doing work under its control. Now, guys, this is super important, and I will come back to that one now. Ensure that these persons are competent on the basis of education, training, or experience. When necessary, take action to acquire competence, evaluate the effectiveness of those actions, and retain appropriate documented information as evidence of competence. In short, define competence, close the gap, and prove it worked. And this is a simple gap analysis. Simple gap analysis. We will do a specific webinar on gap analysis, that you can actually understand how to conduct it, how to do it, what to do. But on competence, this is coming back to determine the competence. Now, if you are looking at determining the competence of persons doing work under its control, that is a simple question, but it's also very complex, because that question started with the approval of that post. Why was that post necessary? Why did the board or the exco or someone who is making the decisions, how did they make a decision that we need that post to be created? And that is where it is actually starting, because that motivation, that business case that this departmental head or somebody motivated for, that is the competence that we are talking about. So out of that that decision, then a job description is being formed, and that job description is following you wherever you go. And how are you actually comparing to the competence? And then the advert that is actually going out into the market to say, please, people, apply. We have got this position open. We've got this position and somebody needs to fill it. And I can guarantee you, if there's 100 applications or 50 or 10, it doesn't matter. No one will be 100% fit for purpose and fit for function in that competence scenario. Not at all. So in the applications, the best possible 3 or 5 people are then selected and invited to an interview, where the interviewer and the head of the department is sitting there as a panel, and they are looking at, does this person fit into this scenario? And this is just the job description that is in front of you. And the person with the best marks and the best competence display are then selected and offered a position. And this is not where it stops. It is actually where it starts. Because I can guarantee you that delegate or that applicant is a possible 75% or a possible 80% or a possible 60, 70%. I don't know. But somebody, you as a panel, has made a decision about competence. This person is the most competent person for this position at this specific time. And this is where you are actually starting with your gap analysis. At that interview, because that interview has given you maybe a point system to say that this person has been doing this and this and this, and we are out of 5, we are saying that this is there a 3, a 2, a 1, a 4, etc. And that gap analysis is already the start of your competence. And then when the person is being appointed, he's got 3 months. In certain countries, it is 6 months to actually slot into the business and to be seeing that this person can actually do the job and that he is fitting into the business and the culture of the business itself. And that is a second part of your competence analysis. So super important. It is not about who has got the best qualifications. Not at all. It is who can do the job. Who can do the job, and how can I take that person and actually grow him into this company and mold him for this company? Because this is where you are actually forming people and associates and everything. And from that, what kind of training does this person need? This person knows nothing of your company. Absolutely nothing. He hasn't got a clue about what is happening in that department and what is your product, etc. He's got an overview, yes, but further on, he knows nothing. So the first thing that you need to do is actually to train this person and to expose him or her to policies and procedures and etc. that is applicable on that person's daily life. And the question is, are you keeping record of it? Are you keeping record of it? I will show you a bit later everything that I'm talking here about. I will show you in a practical analysis that we are actually doing for companies now already for the last 10 years. And this is where it is so important, because that person needs to fit into your business first. You as a business are not going to fit into that person's space. Not at all. I don't change. As a company, I'm changing my strategy and my objectives, yes. But out of 300 people, am I going to change my whole strategy, etc., for one person? Not at all. That person needs to fit in or ship out. And that is hard to be saying that. But if that person doesn't want to do what you as a business want to pay him for his time, then what are you doing here? So out of all of these things, competence is not just defined as training attendance. No, it is not about that. This is all about knowledge and skills and behavior. So knowledge is where you have built your qualifications. Yes, that is qualifications. But with your qualifications, you've got experience as well. And maybe somebody has got 10 years experience, other person has got 1 year experience and different qualifications. Then skills. Skills is about, can I work in this environment with Excel? Because it is dependent on, I need to work Excel. Are you testing that person during the interview on his Excel skills? Or do you just say that, oh, okay, what you're saying is good? No, you cannot do that. That person, if that is applicable on your environment, that is part of your technical environment. Skills. And this is why we are speaking about emotional intelligence. We are talking about soft skills. We're talking about word skills, email skills. We're talking about all of these skills, because this is forming you as a person that is here and now working in this environment, and I can work in this environment. I am not referring the whole time to my previous job. I was at the previous job now. I was so good in this. But yeah, you are proven to be incompetent because you cannot do. Is the standards of your previous job then? That is not for discussion. That is not open for discussion at all. The question is, are you competent to do your job? Yeah. And then behavior. And behavior, guys, on the previous sheet or on the previous slide, I was actually talking about determine the competence. And behavior, you can have the best person with the worst attitude. Really? The best person with the worst attitude. And this is why every environment, every workplace has got a 3 months to a 4 months to 120 days actually testing period for anybody to come in and for us as a company to learn about you. What is your attitude? What is happening there? Can you execute a work? If you cannot do that in the 3 months, you cannot stay there longer for the 4th month, because there needs to be competent people there. And if your behavior is bad, then I don't think that you will make 3 months. So competence means the ability to apply knowledge and skills. Yes, you've got a degree, you've got a master's degree, but can you apply it? Applied knowledge is the best knowledge that you can have. If you cannot apply it and you are just working out of books, my friend, you are not fitting in here. Second one there, to achieve intended results. The intended results is I need this to be done, and that is my outcome. So please provide it to me. If you cannot do that, you are not competent. And consistently and reliably work, and that I can rely on you. And this is why auditors rarely accept certificates alone. I don't want to have a certificate is nice. Yes, fantastic. Show me that you can apply your knowledge. Show me that you can learn from anybody behavior. Behavior is super important. Super important. Going over to competence versus training, a critical distinction. So firstly, attending a course for training. The competence there is applying skills effectively after the course. Can you do that? If you cannot do that, why did you send him on the course? Because then the person is not learning at all. Receiving information is then demonstrating capability. Once-off event is sustained performance, and input-based and output-based. And 7.2 explicitly requires evaluation of effectiveness, not just completion. Very important there. And this is why every company has got a quarterly performance assessment, a PMS process, and a procedure that everybody needs to be assessed every quarter, because you need to determine where are you, what is your gaps, and where are you going to. Because in the 3 months, something changed in your internal and external environment, and you need to adapt with it. So who must be competent under clause 7.2? So 7.2 applies to anyone whose work affects the conformity to requirements, performance of the management system, risk exposure, compliance obligations, and includes permanent staff, contractors, temporary staff, outsourced personnel, where relevant. And if they influence outcomes, 7.2 applies. Super important there. It is not only our permanent staff. Oh, contractors as well. Bring them in. Get them close to you. Assess them. Make sure that anybody that is working on your behalf, on your management system's behalf, that they can execute what they need to be executing, that they can deliver and have the outcomes that needs to be done there. So the practical example here is in clause 7.2 7.2 in action. So firstly, on the left-hand side, the incident responder. So this is for, you can talk about this in terms of IT, you can talk about it in terms of security, in terms of environmental issues, if you're working in that space on safety, on health and safety. So the competence required is incident handling procedures, legal reporting obligations, technical investigation skills, and the actions taken is targeted training. Yes, targeted training for your own environment. Scenario-based exercises, that is testing and exercising, monitored incident response. And then the competence here is the effectiveness evaluation is incident response time improved. Yes, because people know more and how to do things in terms of that incident. Few escalation errors. Post-incident reviews confirms competence. And this satisfies 7.2 far better than certificates alone. You need to test it. You need to make sure that people can demonstrate competence, real results, and auditor confidence. Moving beyond training to proven capability and performance. So determining competence requirements, and this is often missed. So ISO experts' competence to be determined deliberately, not assumed. No, it must be a deliberate exercise that you've got proof that you have done it, that you've got proof that you have assessed it in the presence of that person, or separately, or on a 360 degrees assessment, anything that you can prove that person's competence. Best practice is to link competence to roles and processes and risks, and you can see there the interlinking to other clauses in the standards. So here's an example of risk-driven competence. So firstly, the first column there is talking about risk, the role there, and the required competence. So firstly, data breach. The role there is IT admin and secure configuration. If people don't have the knowledge of configuration of assessing an environment, then you are going to sit with a data breach for long. Regulatory non-compliance, this is the compliance officer, and legal interpretation. And people, this is super important to interpret laws and regulations and standards and policies and procedures, because sometimes things are not written as black and white. It is black and white, yes, but it is not as clear-cut as it is stating there. You need to interpret that and see where is my evidence, because it doesn't ask for the evidence. Then the risk is service disruption, operations manager, continuity planning. Yes, what is your business continuity? And auditors look for this logic. Logically, it is not difficult. We don't want to be, as auditors, you don't want to be unfair or unreasonable. You cannot be, because then it is an invalid audit. So closing competence gaps. So 7.2 allows multiple ways to achieve competence. Firstly, formal training. Yes, send people on training. Training, face-to-face training, or virtual training, just like what we've got here now at the moment. Or self-study training, if you want to have a longer study period or something. On-the-job coaching, absolutely. But keep your records. If you don't have the record of your on-the-job coaching, management has done nothing and the employee has learned nothing, because you can prove nothing. Mentoring. What is your mentoring process in your organization? And please, competence. People are speaking about our company is going through difficult times. We don't have money to spend on training. Bull. Bull, bull, bull. How does on-the-job coaching depends on money to be spent? It's only time, and the time you've already got, because the people are sitting there in the positions. Mentoring is part of your performance management process. That is part of management. It is not part of somebody else's job. What we are seeing is that people would rather send people away for training. You know why? Because leadership doesn't want to get involved with the person here in front of them. It's actually leadership that is dodging their own work. Supervised work. Absolutely. Who is checking on the previous person's work? Because somebody in knowledge is the supervisor. How are you actually inspecting that person's work? But no, I am going to be very, very unpopular here. We are not in a popularity contest. External certification, experience recognition. Absolutely. You can write your experience recognition down there, but just remember, you need to give the outcomes, what is required from you. And then the key question is not how, but whether competence was achieved. Very important, how it was achieved, and can you continually execute it? So evaluating effectiveness, the audit hotspot. So 7.2 explicitly requires evaluation. And this is where we are asking for your skills audit. As I said, I will go to our skills audit as well. Acceptable evaluation methods include observation, testing, performance matrices, incident trends, audit results, management feedback. An unacceptable answer is they attended the training. Yes, they attended the training, but the moment that they walked out of the exam room, they closed the door on that competence as well. They didn't bring it back. Auditors will ask, how do you know it worked? Very important. And if you are looking at ISO 10015, please write it down. ISO 10015. That is giving you an expansive process of planning for training, doing training, what is the outcomes of the training, testing for the training, and actually in the workplace, how do you evaluate? How do you evaluate the effectiveness of that training or that interaction, whether it is a mentorship, whether it is on the job training, or next to, there are various methodologies. One of them is next to Nelly. So next to Nelly is, I am a supervisor and I am teaching you how to do your job. And so I am showing you, you are doing it then. I am checking on you, I am correcting you, you're doing it again. I am checking it, and we are doing it again. So 3 and 4 times you have done it. So you know what to do. Did you make notes? Yes, you have. Is it working? Yes. Is this person making fault? No. So documented information. What is enough? So very important. What is enough? So ISO does not prescribe formats, but typical evidence include competency matrices. Now, competency matrices is this what I am going to explain to you. Competency matrices, this is of a whole environment. What is the competencies there on training? What is the competencies on procedures? What is the skills analysis? What is the attitude analysis? And what is your coding that you are using? I will do that just before we are finished. So let's just go back to this. So firstly, competence matrix, roles and the profiles for that role, training records. Yes, not only attendance registers. Nope. We want to see what was in the training material. What is in the training material? What did this person train on? One of the companies that we are auditing, in our own environment, you will see that if we are doing training and our international training, I'm just going to go there to the standards, and you will see there, let's go to business continuity. That's it. PCB, lead implementer, and you will see there each day has got about 100 and I needs to open now. Sorry. Just want to see what is happening here. There's it. There's it. So each day has got about 122 to 150 pages. So it's a 4-day training, and we are sitting with about 500 pages of training. Very important. 500 pages for a week, 4-day training plus the exam on the last day. One of my clients send people away to another country to go and do a week-long training. The training material that they brought back was 10 pages. 10 pages, 10. Not 100, not 1,000, 10 in a week. For this is 8 hours times 5, it's 40 hours of training, 10 pages. We are doing 10 pages within an hour, 10 pages. And the question is, what did they learn? And some of those pages just had pictures on it. So the training records is not only your certificate. No, it is also your training material and the advert and everything else that you can have to explain what kind of training did you do there. Certifications, yes, certifications are super important, and this is why we are part and parcel of the PECB, the Professional Evaluation Certification Board, because people are being certified internationally, and there are CPD, continuous professional development, that you need to be doing there to keep your certification alive and functioning and applicable. Otherwise, it's getting old. Done. Skills assessment. Skills assessment, yes, back again to what we are talking here about. To say, what kind of training, what is your profile? And I will go through this. Skills assessment and performance evaluations. Yes, performance evaluations every 3 months. The reason for that is not an administrative burden. No, it is to determine how can we tweak you and us to follow the strategy of this company and the objectives of this company. Are we driving this, or are we losing total focus of it? And the rule is, enough evidence is demonstrate competence. No more, no less. So all of these are critical to determine how are you doing and how are you managing competence. So 7.2 and outsource competence. ISO is clear, competence requirements apply even when work is outsourced. So if you've got people that is working on the mine that is contracted in, you must make sure that they are competent. You need to have the documents and the numbers to determine that they are competent. They cannot just come here on site and it is your environment, and then they are falling under one of these earth-moving vehicles and they are losing a leg. Fantastic. Who is going to have a civil claim against them? You as the company. And who is going to be looking at, do we close down this mine? The Department of Labor is going to be doing it because there's a person that has lost a limb or somebody that has lost a life. And now the community is asking, what did you do? They are not going to go to the company that was outsourced to their place that is 1,000 kilos away. No, they're asking you. So you must ensure clear competence requirements, selection criteria. How do you do that? Ongoing evaluation. Can the person be allowed into that area or not? And reliance on supplier reputation alone is not sufficient. Yeah, but this supplier always do this good thing. Yeah, prove it. Prove to me that they have done training, that they have done that clear competence requirements. If you cannot do that, you are at fault. Not the supplier, you. So common audit findings for clause 7.2 is firstly, training records without competence evaluation. Yes, people are attending a 5-day course, 40 hours gone off work, 10 people. It is costing us not only the training, the transport, the missing of the work for that 5 days. That is the real cost, direct and indirect cost. And then there is no test. And that evaluation that is there need to be independent and make sure that people are actually competent. Second one, generic training unrelated to the role. Yeah, leadership is all over. But I need something for my specific role. So you need to have specific environments with specific training to do with that specific environment and that specific person. No defined competence criteria. Over-reliance on certificates. Oi! Yeah, we have seen this. This person has got a list that is 2 pages long of qualifications. And ask him or her the simplest thing, and they are flabbergasted. They don't know what to answer. They've got all the qualifications. It seems like everybody wanted to send this person on training. And that in itself is a problem, because if you want to send somebody the whole time on training, that person is not competent. So if that person has got all the certificates, but he is not, or she is not performing and not competent, you are wasting your money. Contractors excluded from competence assessments. And then what's good is role-based competence definitions. Evidence of evaluation, targeted training actions, continuous competence monitoring. That is your monthly or your daily assurance that you have to give. It is your weekly, your monthly assurance, your quarterly assurance, your biannual assurance that you need to do on competence, and inclusions of contractors where relevant. I want to come to this part here. Just remember, if you are sitting with competent people, you can manage their stress on a fantastic level. And usually, stress needs to be in this 110 degrees to about 70 degrees. That is the sweet spot of stress. The moment that you are starting to go over and people are struggling, that is when the competence are tested. And people are complaining, wow, I'm doing so much. But then they are sitting here in this green space. No, you need to assess them to ensure that every person is working between 70 and 110 degrees. That is the sweet spot of every person in the world, really. And if you are just coping, then there need to be competence investment there. There need to be development investment there. If they are struggling, the question is this work too much for them? And if you are overloading them to this point, above 135 degrees to 180, then you are causing them to burn out. And you need to assess every person in this way. 70 to 110. 20 degrees to the left and to the right. Just 20 degrees. Don't overwork them, don't underwork them. Because, and this is where, if we are talking about internal control effectiveness, we are looking at these things as well. If one risk is being evaluated as 90% control effectiveness, then you need to take people away there, because then people are actually functioning on this 45 degrees level. And that is not what you as a company want. So the practical implementation, we've got 15 minutes, or actually 20 minutes. I want to go to this one here. So firstly, if you are looking at skills, skills analysis has got 5 dimensions. And this is one of the analysis that we are doing. Skills analysis, stress mapping, and all this kind of thing. So firstly, what is the technical skills that this person must have for this specific job? The technical skills. Please keep that in mind. Number 1. The second one, management and planning skills. Managerial and planning skills on every level. Whether you are a supervisor, whether you are an executive, whether you are a head of a department, whether you are a C-suite or a D1 or a D4 position, doesn't matter. Cognitive skills. Cognitive skills is your savviness. How does your brain work? Can you solve problems? Can you do things and think it through? Can you use your brain, or are you just waiting for somebody else to walk in and do it for you? Cognitive skills. Then people skills. People skills is, how do you work with people? How do you negotiate? What do you do? Coaching, mentoring, etc. And then communication skills. Communication skills is every presentation that you are making, every proposition that you are making to your boss or to somebody else, or how do you motivate people on a daily basis. So this is the critical mass of how do you determine what is your skills analysis. So out of your skills analysis, then you are going to your training environment, and you can do this. This is actually the name, surname, position, unit, everything there that you need to have in that specific department. Now, if you look at this, this is the whole knowledge base on technical skills that this environment needs. Everything there, and we can go further. So secondly, managerial and planning skills. This is what everybody needs to have, just on varying depths and knowledge. Cognitive skills, everybody needs to have that. Then we are talking about people skills and communication skills. People skills, communication skills. And then now we are going into who needs to have what. And this is where we're going to the code. And these codes are usually in your performance management system that you are actually giving people either on a one-to-one basis or on a 360 basis, it doesn't matter what, but that you are using the same measurement for everybody in your environment, whether it is a 0 with no exposure or a 4 performance up to required standards. Now, when you're going back, you are actually assessing there to determine, look at this one. We need to be a 4. We need to be there, a 2. It's not a critical one. But you need to do this assessment. And out of this is your training. Then you have to go to procedures. What is the procedures that this person needs to know about in Department 1, let's say finance or HR? I can guarantee you, everybody that is working anywhere, they want to know, where do I put in leave? Yes. They want to know, where can I book off sick? Yes. How do I do that I don't transgress in this environment? Yes, it is in your sick policy or absenteeism policy. It is there, and you need to go and read it. Everybody wants to know, when do we get money? Yes, and that is Department Finance. So what is the financial department sharing with everybody? You are getting your payment then. You have to have all your claims to put in on the 20th, that we can actually pay it out 10 days later. It has to be approved and all those kind of things. This is different departments. And what is the critical policies that you need to have there? IT department, access to your computers, absolutely, passwords, etc. Access control over this whole environment, occupational health and safety. What do you do there? Security, what do you do there? And this is applicable on everybody in the organization. And the question is, did this person get the exposure to that policy? Because competence is not only about training. It is about, what is your internal environment about? Your policies, your procedures, your guidelines, your everything, your SOPs. What do people need to go and do there? How do I work with clients? How do I repay or cash out something that has been overpaid? So all of this is where you are actually sitting, and guys, with Power BI and all these lovely, and you can see there on the screen as well, Copilot, you can have graphs and everything to be done for you. The analysis is there. You just need to have the figures. There you are. As you can see there, this is the technical skills, 94% for this person. But on the departmental exposure, this person is sitting on 53%. Why? Because these departments did not do what they are supposed to do. And this leadership here did not expose what needs to be exposed. This is your job. This is leadership. This is nothing about anything else. This is about having the best people for that specific job. And is this person fit for purpose and fit for function? Just remember, fit for function is something else. Can this person execute in that function what they are supposed to do? No, they can't. Then you've got here, and then also attitude, behavior. We can even do for you a behavior analysis. As you can see there, it's super fantastic. I can determine with your answers, where is this person situated? Is he involved and unaggressive, or involved, assertive, uninvolved, and giving you frustration there? That is complaining about everything, or this one here, that is people walking away. I don't want to be involved. This is your analysis, because this is your resource that you are talking to and working with. So quickly, step 1, define competence requirements. This is what I explain now in this space here. What I explained there. What is the competence that this person needs to have? Absolutely. So per role and per process, just remember, fit for purpose and fit for function. Then we are going over to step 2. Assess the current competence. That person that has been appointed is not competent in everything, a 4 out of a 4 or 5 out of a 5 or 100%. No, it is possibly 60%, 70%, 80%. That gap is the gap that you need to address. Because this person knows about incident management, but he doesn't know about incident management in this environment. What is the rules here? And this is what you need to be addressing. So identify the gaps honestly and know what is expected, measure what you have today, compare and identify gaps and focus on what matters most. Prioritize it. As we've got it here in this space, in your 4s and your 3s, and prioritize those. Absolutely. Make sure that the person get exposure to it. Then step 3 is take targeted action. Not general, put a blanket over everything and everybody is going to this fantastic leadership conference. But actually, this person needs to know how to be part and parcel of an incident response team, IRTs. He can do nothing at a general leadership conference. Really. They are not going to speak about it for 8 hours. You can do that in 30 minutes to 45 minutes through mentorship, etc., on the job training. So targeted actions. And those targeted actions are your evidence. You need to build that. You cannot depend on somebody else to be doing it on your behalf. Then, step 4, evaluate the effectiveness. Can the person do the job as it was explained to them? And you need to test him. And this is where testing and exercising is so super important in everything that you are doing, because actually you are doing an audit on that person. So is it evidence-based? Is it outcome focused? So collect relevant evidence, verify and analyze it, and measure against the requirements. And outcome focused is achieve intended results, demonstrate consistency, and drive continuous improvement. How can I help you? How can I improve you? How can I develop you further? And proving competence and delivering confidence. Absolutely. You need to be doing that. And in step 5, maintain records. Guys, please don't give me for a 5-day course 10 pages. 10 pages is really not even an hour's work. We are doing here today in this hour 30 pages, and there's an abundance of knowledge here. Really, you cannot give me 10 pages and say this is for a week. So step 5, maintain, keep it simple, accessible, and current. So simple is use clear, consistent formats and only what's needed. Accessible, store where authorized people can find and use them easily. Just remember, if you send somebody out on a course, that person needs to bring knowledge back. And that knowledge needs to actually be internally communicated with everybody. And that person, what they have learned, must come back and they must do kind of workshops, really, to empower other people as well, to share information, to share knowledge. But also that training material are somewhere that somebody can go in there and go and look at it and go and study it and say, but I need this information there, and it's current. Review and update regularly to reflect the real performance. Absolutely, you cannot sit with a policy that is 10 years old and say that this is current. Nope. You cannot sit with training material and training certificates to say, Nico, you as this very important auditor, you have now done all of these training. I just want to show you. So even for us, me and Karina, that is here. Just want to see there. This is every 3 years. I need to redo my certification. Come on, there you are. I am only certified for 3 years. There you are. You can see that 2026 02/11 this year, the 11th of February, and that is until 2029 03/12. Then it is not valid anymore. I am not valid. Nico Snyman cannot do an audit then anymore after that if I didn't renew it and proven my my own competence to the certification bodies. We have to do it. We expect you to do it as well. So good records support compliance, build trust, and prove competence when it matters most. So if we're looking at 7.2, how is this integrated? So one of the strongest benefits of high-level structure is that one competence framework, multiple standards. You can apply this all over, whether it's 9001, etc. It doesn't duplicate things. It keeping it simple and strong for all of you. Duplication prevents duplication while strengthening capability. And the strategic value of this is when implemented properly, Clause 7.2 reduces operational risk, improves consistency, strengthens resilience, enhances audit outcomes, and builds professional credibility. And in mature organizations, competence management is not an HR activity. It is a core governance control. Definitely. HR, in my department, they will not come in there and do an assessment there. We will do it ourselves on our own people because we need to know what is the competency levels in our own environment. HR is a support function. And then closing thought is 7.2 quietly enforces a powerful ISO truth. Systems don't fail. People without competence do. And ISO does not demand perfection. It demands honesty, intent, and proof of capability. And my friends, this is our end of this this webinar today. Is there any questions? Please list it for Karina that you can ask me, or that I can actually go to the go and answer that. If there's questions, Karina, are there questions?
No, Nico, no questions yet. Marcus and Sipo says, well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Righto. So please, guys, this is our contact details.
Wait, Nico, sorry, Sipa's got a question for you.
Sipo, go for it.
Afternoon, Nico. How are you? I hope you
Hello,
well.
Sipo. Fantastic in yourself.
Thank you so much for this session. This was very informative. I must say, I've encountered different auditors, coming to our organization, engaging with them, and how they assess competence and how you deal with it. It's totally different. I think with how you approach it, you go into detail. They just look at the competence. Oh, you do have ISO awareness. Oh, that is okay. That's all. That's enough for them. That's a strong evidence. But how you approach it, like, I must say, I've learned a lot from you. You know, so I will be applying the same thing internally.
Oh,
Within my
super,
reply.
super, super, super.
So I'm
That's
quite
fantastic,
impressed.
Sipo.
No, no, thank you so much for this session. Just a question for me. On the competence, you touched on the behavior of a person. So
Yes.
you as an external auditor, you come in to audit Crest Advisory as an external auditor. You looking at the competency, the certificate, as you've mentioned. The competent, the certificates alone, that's not enough. You look at the skills, you look at the behavior. So during an audit as an external auditor, like how do you assess someone's behavior during an audit? How do you prove that?
Discipline cases.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You can see in your discipline records, in your discipline log from HR, um, what kind of transgressions are there in specific areas, and then you can actually cross-check what you've got on your discipline, and then you can actually re-engineer it to go backwards and say this employee, um, did they got training? Did they was there an induction? Was there a refresher? Are they competent? How did you do a skills audit? So for me, on this one, on behavior, is super important to actually start with your discipline process. If you look at SIPO, if you look at ISO 27001 and 002, 002 gives you, I'm just going to open it here quickly. ISO 27002, sorry, gives you a fantastic control environment. And one of the controls that is, sorry, 2700, hell man, am I looking through into my glasses or looking at my glasses? Sorry for that. If you're looking at this, you will see that organizational controls is, I think there's 37 of them. Then people controls is discipline process. So in your discipline process, everything that has been transgressed, you are looking at those, and how is that affecting you as a business? We have, in this example, one of my clients has got, for the last 2 to 3 years, the same person that was actually here closing out. Where's the um, access management, on access management, access control? The person has repeatedly, and access rights, sorry, has repeatedly failed to inform IT within a day of the person's termination at the workspace. And those people are sitting with 2 weeks, 3 weeks that they are out of the business, but they have still got access rights to the business. So this is coming back again to discipline processes. Discipline is if you are doing that honestly and not as a punitive process, just remember, discipline is not punitive. It is corrective. It is part of continual improvement until the person demonstrates that he cannot be reformed. Then you have to have a process that gets the people out of the company, but your discipline process is your biggest due north in determining behavior.
Thank you so much, Nico. Just one more question.
Yes.
It's something that I've experienced previously. How would you get a buy-in from top management? Because the competency, the ISO talks about, leadership commitment. I think that's clause 5.1.
That's it.
So, yes,
You know your
you are
standard,
working.
huh? I love it.
You're working for this organization. You have top management. They are ISO certified. It's nice to have because they will be able to secure more contracts with this ISO certification, but there is no commitment from the top management. And how would you like approach them to get a buy-in? And when you try to approach them to get a buy-in from their side, get commitment, like you want to take them for an awareness training, on the ISO cause, and they will tell you, hey, we don't have time, we are too busy, as exco. How would you maybe get a buy-in and approach? What approach? Because we experience a lot, with us internal audits, we experience a lot of resistance from the top management. Whenever certification auditors come in, they will be nice to you guys as if like there is commitment, but once you have left, they just don't care. But once there is a major finding that has been raised by the certification auditors, then that's an issue. Forgetting that they are not committed into the system. Now the challenge is we are struggling to get a buy-in from them, to get a commitment from these top management. What approach?
Sipho, that is a question that we actually need to have a webinar on. Okay, now just make for us a note there, because this is so important. If we're looking in risk management, in IT management, quality management, it doesn't matter what. Commitment, if you look at clause 5.182, I think it's G. If you look at that, it is everything there has already been being done. People just don't actually know that they are leading, and that needs to be explained to them, that what they are doing in their own environment is linked to their performance. Because if the objectives are not reached by that department, that head of the department are not going to get a bonus or something. I don't know what is in your environments, but that leadership process is super important, and the commitment on that, how to do that, and the biggest thing is you don't force anybody to do something. It needs to be a partnership between everybody. This is just like if you are force feeding geese, you are getting foie gras. It is a delicacy, eh? But you don't want to force feed people here. You want them to work with you, and then you are getting wagyu beef. That is fantastic marbling. So I think we need to have this discussion, Karina, for another webinar.
Yes.
But Sipho, if you have got time, maybe you can contact us, and then we can set up a an half an hour discussion quickly about this, that we don't take everybody's time here now. Is it okay? You've got our email.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine with me, sir.
Super.
I will do that. I will do that. When are
Right.
you having? You mentioned something earlier about the gap analysis webinar.
We will do that after clause 8.1. So that is
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
in the next month or so.
Mm.
Right. We will schedule
All
it.
right. Thank you. Thank you,
Right.
sir.
Okay, Sipho. Thank you very much for that. Any other questions? That was lekker.
Very nice. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So We will upload this tomorrow on YouTube as well, this recording. So go and check it out there if you want to see more of us or just show it to somebody else. So guys and girls, thank you very much. We appreciate your attendance. And in 2 weeks, we are talking about 7.3. That is all about awareness. So enjoy. Have a lovely Thursday. Bye-bye.